Okay, welcome back to the channel. This project is going to be interesting. So this truck here is a 2003 Isuzu that we've had since it was brand new. And at this point it's 2024, so depending on when you're watching this video, this truck is 21 years old. Now over the summer this truck got into an accident because the brake line failed. Oh my god, a mouse just ran out of it. I just saw a mouse. Maybe I can go play back. It's right through there. It just came down the... Oh my goodness. Anyway, got into a bit of a wreck. You see the windshield's all smashed. The front, I'll call it hood. All the A-pillars, the doors all wedged open. So, we're going to replace the cab and keep running it. At least for another year or two. This truck has been pretty good to us for the most part in terms of engine. It's only got 140,000 on it. We just did a whole bunch of work to the dump bed last winter. We reskinned the whole thing, fixed the headache rack, put new brackets on it for the toolboxes. Those toolboxes underneath are relatively new. So we just put a decent amount of money into it. So now we're just trying to keep it going. The cost of a new truck like this is probably about 90,000. We got a whole cab for $5,000. And I'm anticipating probably 3 weeks worth of work to swap it, I would say, and then, you know, paint and all that sort of jazz as well. So we're gonna take our time with it and get her done. I got the new cab in the building. It's actually a way nicer shape than this one, which is it's good. The underneath of it's not rusted. The doors are rust free. This thing's got some rust on it. So on top of that, we're gonna go through and probably replace all the brake lines as well. I'm not sure how far I'll go with calipers and stuff like that, but pretty much a full rebuild is what we're looking to do here. So it's January, end of January now. I just started it up. It's been sitting since June. You can see I got my jump packs on it, but I wanted to get it up closer to the building where I could charge up the batteries and plug it in to the block heater, because I'm kind of far away from the buildings. It's got to go all the way up there when this gets going. So figured I'd get it running. Today's about 41 degrees out right now, so my best shot is right now. So let's get this thing pulled up to the building, and we'll break back at the next point when I get to ripping this thing apart. All right, back on the Isuzu project here. Got her in the shop. Last time she was outside, just got her fired up. So I'm going to start disassembling this thing and kind of getting ready to pull this cab off. I have no idea how long this is going to take, but I'm going to start with some of the aftermarket stuff, like the dump hoist controller that's inside the cab. It's a real mess in here right now. Well, I gotta get that out of here. I gotta get the plow wiring out of here. All the small stuff that is all aftermarket and runs from the cab down to the frame. So I'm gonna start here with the batteries, disconnect those, and start unhooking wires. Start pulling stuff through and starting to disassemble this thing. So we'll start with that. We'll get the cab out, we'll get the controller out, and the wiring, and go from there. Alright, we're about an hour into this. Got a whole bunch of wiring. This is all from the sulfur that was on here. That ran all the way from the back, obviously up to the front. I've been fixing battery terminals on this thing for years for stuff we didn't even use. But that went up into the cab, and there was a relay and stuff for not a relay. Solenoid down there with the circuit breaker. I got the headlights out, the grill out. I had to do all that to get this harness out for the plow, because the plow harness tied into the headlights, you know, high beam, low beam, turn, running, all that sort of stuff. This is a mess in here. The mice have gotten to it pretty bad. But just kind of peeled the carpet back up, and I had to cut everything, because they had the relays and stuff up in here for the plow harness. So now I'm going after that yellow orange harness right there. I'm going to lift the cab up and see if I can see it from behind. I don't know how it's routed, but it's pinched underneath some stuff. So this looks like the main wiring harness to the cab. It's hidden back there with a big old plug. You got brake lines, power steering line, maybe? I'm not sure what this is, low pressure something, probably low pressure power steering. Heater core, parking brake and shifter cable. Then it looks like it's 4 bolts and the cab's off. The wiring's the big thing. I gotta make sure they get the wiring off. And then, you know, these little brake lines are no big deal. That's not a big deal. This isn't a big deal, I think. It's up in there. We'll figure it out. That's what we got. So, pretty nice access so far. Just, everything's kind of crunched in, so that big wiring harness is kind of pinched in there, which is a problem. Because it's tucked up underneath that box, which is all smushed up now. So, I think I'm going to bring the other cab in here and get a look at it and just try to see what it looks like for access, if I can do something to make it work. So we'll see. But I'm gonna lift the cab up and try and get this controller harness off for the dump hoist, and then that's done. All the aftermarket stuff is removed. Then I gotta start with the factory stuff. So let's get after it. All right, well, it's after lunch now. Just got the new cab in. What is up with this thing in the black line? I don't know. Weird. Here's the new cab, new used cab. It's off of 2004. You can see it's a GMC, not an Isuzu, but it's the same thing. A W5500, which is the same as the NQR. 17,950. Super nice looking cab. Clean, rust-free. I gotta start cutting this down. What I did was I brought this over here so I could start getting some references to what's got to be pulled off where, like these brake lines, the shifting cable lines, that kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. Okay, so there's a big boot. All right, well, this doesn't look too bad. I gotta get that boot off there. That answers that question. Power steering line got cut. Okay, that's not too bad either. All right, well, this doesn't look too bad. But I wanted to bring this one in so I could get a game plan of what this looks like. So I have an idea of what I'm up against with that one. Because I have 2 vehicles to look at. You know, this, I could take this off here or here, and they took it off here, so I'm going to take that one off there. All that kind of stuff. Those are cut. All right. A little bit of work to do on this cab, but we'll get it done. So I'm going after the wire harness. And the shifting cables was what I was really looking for. I wanted to see how they had the shifting cables, because that one's got some stuff. This one has some stuff too. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to figure out orientation. So we're gonna get working on this wiring. It looks like it all plugs out from underneath, so it's all smushed, which is the problem. All right, let's get after it. All right, the 3 p.m. update. Obviously, this was all ripped apart earlier. Got the brake lines undone. This power steering by a booster line, and then the return line over here. Parking brake cables disconnected from there. Power, no, not power, heater core lines up in here disconnected. So this thing's ready to, oh, the power, that was the big one, right? Got the power disconnected. And then they've been working on, got the old harness out. Oh boy, I had that lifted up a little bit. The shift linkage and the parking brake linkage pulled out. Down here, I gotta send those through the bottom, but I gotta get down there first. The hardware's out for that. The steering shaft is loose. I'm gonna try to get that from the bottom. Now I lift the cab up, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, we're half a day into it right now, and I got a few things to pull, and then I think I'm heading right for the mounting bolts. We'll be getting this cab off tomorrow, probably first thing. Is what the plan, I would say, is right now. I'm going to try to get it all done, ready to lift. And then that one, we're going to have to really rig up nice and get her into place. But she's moving along nice. I'm happy with the progress, so we're going to keep after it. 5:30 p.m. update. We're done for the day. I've been kind of stopped a little while ago, tinkering around, but the cab is ready to come off. So, as per, you know, book says we have to use the rototilt, so we must use the rototilt. Well, here's what we got. I got these lines out. That's done. There's another hose up here that was taken off. 2 heater hoses, some clamps, These bolts are out. The back two I cut with a torch. There's a bolt for this steering gear on the inside that I took out and was able to get the shaft off. I got these two bolts out, and there's two on the side that are also out. And then the last thing that I'm not going to do now, because everything's loose, is the cab stabilizer up underneath. So when you tilt it, it stays up. I had to disconnect that. And, oh, this was the throttle cable too. So the new cab has the throttle cable already up into the cab. I disconnected it from the engine. So that's going to go with it. And the new one will come. And yeah, so tomorrow morning we're going to get the rototilt plus the straps, a pile of them that we have here. And we're going to rig this thing up and lift it off. Thought about just grabbing it with the clamp and crushing it. And just, but I don't know. That would hurt too much. So that's the plan right now. Gonna ratchet it, get it on there, get it ripped off, and then slowly probably put this one right on. I don't see any reason why not to. So that's tomorrow's plan.
You're gonna have to lift straight up and out towards me. I don't know. Do you have any more outreach this way? Because you're gonna have to go out past this hook.
It's gonna have to go that way. It cannot go this way because the bracket for the cab mount.
How are you gonna get up past the hook to be able to swing to go that way?
Pull the hook out of it.
So you have to come up for the inches. Get past the hook.
I'm sure you clear. I just gotta go straight up. But I can't go this way because the front bracket bolts to the side of the frame on this side.
Your dad said I was gonna be on YouTube today.
Absolutely. You want to see this?
He told me yesterday. He goes, don't worry though, you'll be fucking Speedy Gonzalez. Because you're running it fast time.
The only thing, so we got the hook to worry about, and then just making sure the cables in the front don't get caught or something when you look it up. There should only be one cable going up with the cab. There's 3 cables down there, and one of them stays in the cab, the other 2 stay with the truck.
Yeah, come, Clark. Can you come to me?
second ago.
See this, how you're stuck to it still?
Oh. This.
Where it was hanging in.
That spline's gonna come out. Now we're over here.
Yeah, something on the
Ah, I see it. I see it. Nope, it's a fucking plow mount. This is the plow mount. So it's gotta happen. This has gotta come this way.
I was just
I might
about
have
to
to
go do something.
I gotta go down.
Oh, this is stuck in behind this plate, isn't it? Gotcha.
It's gonna have to go down. Smashes the engine. No, you still got to punch it. Alright, let's try it.
That was scary.
You know, I was thinking about this portion of the plow mounts off yesterday.
Don't need them.
There's no reason. Okay, it's the noon update. We saw the big operation this morning getting the cab off with the excavator. It worked pretty well. Just spent some time now kind of cleaning and painting this front section, so when the cab's back on, it's not going to be a huge ordeal. Got a few things to fix. This thing is one of them, this cooler. A couple lines that are dirty. I also got to do new brake lines, which I don't have, but we're going to do new brake lines from here. This comes out of the cab all the way back to the ABS module. I just did a new brake line from here back, and brake line on that side. I gotta still finish it. I don't have the fittings or the new hoses or anything like that, but it's a start. So we're gonna get that fixed up, and we're probably gonna have the cab back on this afternoon. So that's that. We're gonna keep after it.
I left my luggage in Arizona.
Who?
I left my luggage in Arizona.
How the f*** do that?
Oh, we had to leave the house at 3:30. I called a Uber. There were 4 of us. We had all of us had luggage and all of us had the big long golf bags. So I called an XL, but wouldn't fucking fit all the shit. And I just totally forgot. We pulled all the stuff to the curb, we got it all to fucking fit, except mine. I forgot I left mine in front of her car at the garage. We barely got everything to fit. Fucking close the door, we get to the airport, I get out, I'm like, where's my bag?
Your clothes bag?
Yeah, my suitcase. I brought my clubs home. Then I called Christy and she's like, yeah, it's sitting here in front of my car, in front of the garage. I was like, God damn. I could have went back and got it because we were there like an hour and a half early. The place is dead. But Aaron's coming home in like 2 days, so he's just gonna bring it.
I say just get it UPS.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Where's the bolt? Where is it? Right here?
Where's your 17 mil 38?
Oh, it's not gonna fit. We gotta do it by hand. Then you can wrench. I've actually wrenched. I got a socket.
Oh, the gun don't fit?
No. This one's gonna go like this on the bottom.
So you're gonna come in and get it in position and just leave this little space here? Or can we drop the whole thing? This is coming in.
That's not coming from the front like you are. With the pan, but it's gonna be through the grill. Got it.
Wrench.
Huh?
Wrench. He said I could line up. It's just a big empty hole.
Is it something we gotta put in later, or we have to catch on?
Yeah.
Yeah, have to steer the shaft down here. The other side's got 4 bolts ready to go, and on this side's... Just see, man, I hate to pull it all up, unless we can get it.
They're supposed to move. Go on there and you'll see it. I didn't see anything. Unless it pulls, like with a spring. There's a spring up. I didn't see shit. I'll let you do that. I got something, but I don't know. I gotta get a Band-Aid.
Does it mean you have to unbolt this at all?
Awesome.
Is there a way that that whole column can come out of the cab?
I don't know, really get into something like versus if we can, well,
It looks like it's difficult to do.
Band-Aid? They got a Band-Aid.
Fucking myself up.
Put a nice Band-Aid on it. Duct tape. Electrical tape.
Electrical tape's superior anyway.
Using scissors, you gotta still use liquid Band-Aid. Spray shit. You hear it keep moving a little bit.
Huh?
So did you clean it up?
oh, yeah.
Well, all we do is undo it and open the hole. You can't do anything else.
Put something on.
Can't do anything with the door closed.
Yeah.
All right, so it's the next day now. Cab's on. It's all mounted. I got a few things to wrap up. I got everything up under here, the grill here. Brake lines are hooked up. Power steering return, or booster, that is. Booster return. This is the throttle cable. Parking brake, shifter cables I gotta still wrap up on the inside. The main electrical harness, I gotta finish that up as well. I gotta drop some plugs down and get that snapped in. Mounting bolts are all done. Inside the cab, I gotta secure this seat down. Finish that shifter cable. And I gotta adjust the steering wheel. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to probably drive it to really get it done. We had to take the steering gear off. Not the steering gear, but the steering shaft off. And now it's not lined up right, so I'm gonna have to kind of drive it straight and then take the wheel off and adjust the steering shaft a couple notches. Got my new brake lines ran. I don't know if you can see it down the line there, that nice new copper looking one. Still gotta make all my terminal lens up here at the ABS mod and at the wheels. But I got 2 more to run from the back that supply the pump, and then I got the 2 that go out to the back wheels to do. Still need the rubber hoses and stuff like that, so we're doing all new brake lines on this thing. And we're just kind of cleaning stuff up. It's kind of a mess. So we're gonna keep working at it. Okay, back on the brake job here on this Isuzu. So I've been slowly dissecting things. I see I got one new line in here. This line I replaced a couple years ago with the copper nickel. It looking good. These ones look like garbage. Get this one done. I got everything labeled here, so I know where stuff's supposed to go. Got this fitting over here, ready to go. I got it connected. I ran up short on hose there. But what I'm doing is this multi-tool. Now, in the automotive industry, I'd say this is kind of weird to have something like this. Like, I wouldn't go out of my way to buy this because I think, I would spend my money on a ratchet or something. But this thing's pretty nice. So what I've been doing is going through one at a time and like using the tool to cut the old hose, like right here. I don't know if you can see that very well. Cutting this hose right here and then taking that pipe out in one piece, and I'm gonna bend it out here and then fit it to go back in, which is pretty handy. So I'm just gonna zip that. I'll put a socket on that. I'll break that old nut out, put the new one in, because that's gonna work better than a wrench. See, all these lines have real kind of funky bends. So then we're gonna fit that up nice and build a new one. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna build our new hoses and flare it and make it beautiful. So let's keep working at it, and maybe we'll get some brake lines done. All right, a little bit later that day, we got some brake lines ran. Now this kind of looks like a cluster because I really can't get these things perfect like they are at the factory, but they're close enough for me. They're not rubbing on anything, they're not kinked, which is really what's important. They're not touching anything. So I got this line installed here. The second line, this is to the front right caliper. My front left one is done. I did that yesterday. My rear right is to the line, but I have a new line coming. My rear left, I went to do my flaring and broke my tool. Let's see what I have. I broke two of them. This is actually the line right here in the vise that I'm trying to flare, and I broke both of the dies. So I ordered a 10-pack of them on Amazon for 12 bucks, and we're going to continue back with that next week, unfortunately. So in the meantime, I ended up pulling the rest of these other lines out that come from the front, from actually where the pedal is. I got those ran in place. Those look okay. They're not nice and straight like they came from the factory, but they work, which is what matters. And again, they're not touching anything. They're in the clips as much as I could with ones that aren't broken. And those ones come up to down in there somewhere. I gotta hook them up. You can see I got the copper lines hanging out there. I gotta flare those, put fittings on them, and screw them into that hose up there. Then that'll be done. I'll have brake pressure back to the ABS module again. I'll get the rear lines done, and then I gotta do the rear steel lines at the wheel. So there's two of them. So that's what I got in store next week. I got my dump controller all mounted up. Wiring's done for that. Ran that up into the cab, so the interior of the cab is done. I don't have anything else to do to that. Well, besides I have to mount the harness, or the plug. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there's the plug. I move out of the way. There's the plug right there, or the controller. I gotta just mount that. And then I got a power steering hose to replace. That's leaking real bad. It's draining this entire reservoir overnight onto the floor. And some fuel lines I want to replace. These mud covers are going to get replaced. You can see the thing's just wobbling off. I'm going to replace this support here because it's just rusty and not really that great. And then we're going to sandblast it and paint the frame, paint the underbody, fix a little bit of rust on the body itself, and paint the cab. So I'm hoping to get it sandblasted next week. Alright, I think this is day 4 in the books. Got the truck up on jack stands today, got the wheels off, the new DeWalt impact I got here, 1,700 foot-pounds of torque. Did a good job taking those off. Got the back ones loosened up. Just for tomorrow, I'm going to pull them off. I want to sandblast the rims while everything's off. So I want to kind of break all the nuts loose in here while I have time, and then we go to sandblast it next week. It'll be ready. But got my brake lines all finished up through here. Everything down to the wheel is done. New brake hoses back here. New lines down there. That one's pretty ugly. I might have to reorganize that a little bit. All my connections are done up here. The only thing I gotta do is I got new calipers, so I got new hoses. But the rotors need to be replaced. So I have to do the rotors, which will be here tomorrow. And then put the new calipers on. Then I can put my hoses on. And then start to bleed everything down, which is gonna take a whole while. So by tomorrow I should have all the wheels back on it. It should be driving. And I should be able to pull her out. And then we're gonna take the sideboards off. I got some rust repair to do. some patchwork to do. Up in here, this is all blown out. I'd like to kind of straighten this corner out that's bent. It's been bent as long as I can remember, but we'll see. Start to strip it down, take the sideboards off, take the 2x4s off the side rail here, get all that off there. Kind of get it ready for them to sandblast, so get it outside, set up kind of like it is right now. Got to cover the engine up in the cab, get the bed up, cover up the brakes, all the hoses and stuff like that, so when they sandblast it doesn't make a mess or destroy anything. So that's what we got. Tomorrow we'll be doing the brakes in the front. So we're off to a good start. At least the back end's done, besides the bleeding. I've been running brake line all day. So, moving along. Okay, back on the Isuzu project. To give an update, I really opened up a can of worms on this thing. So, I don't know where we left off, but I got my brake lines all done. Yes, we already covered that. So then I went into the rear, or the front brakes here. Got the hubs off. Got the old rotors off. Got everything cleaned up. Everything nice and shiny. Got the bearings all cleaned up. Getting ready to put stuff back together. Just waiting on rotors that are coming from Rock Auto. Got them. Ordered them Tuesday night. They were supposed to be here Wednesday. Well, they never showed up. Today's Thursday now, and they're still not here. The tracking says they were supposed to be here yesterday, but tracking says now they're in Syracuse. They went from Rochester to Syracuse, so they went the wrong way. So I ended up getting these rotors at Napa just to keep this project rolling. And finally getting this thing back together. I got to put the bearings back in, you know, pack everything real nice, bolt everything back up, then I can get the calipers on, get the hoses all connected, and the front brakes will be done. So while I was waiting for that, I've been kind of tucking stuff away. I put a new fuel line in this from the tank up to the filter, up to the water drain. And these wheels I'm going to have sandblasted. You can see them there. So I had to get them off. Basically, I wanted to get everything off now, and I'll put everything back on. So when they, so we're going to pull this truck outside to sandblast. When they show up, I'll have one rear wheel on and one front wheel on. I'll put it up on jack stands. I'll get it back off again. So it'll be like just what you're looking at right now. They can come in and sandblast. I had to use a torch on this side for every single bud. And the other side, I had to use the torch for every single nut and bud. So I'm about 2 hours worth of just getting the rear wheels off. So now my problem is when I did that and took that rear wheel off, on this side, this is where it really opened up a can of worms on me. You can see it's all torched up. Where'd it go? This one, which one is it? One of these. There it is. This one down here popped off, this stud. So I'm like, well, and it fell into the drum, so I have to get it out of there now. So I pulled it out, pulled the drum off, and as you can see, it's all covered in oil. So I got a bad seal in this rear hub. So the pad's shot because it's soaked in oil, or the shoe. So I got to get new shoes. I got to pull this rear axle off, and I got to put a new hub seal on there. And I got to pull the other side off now and put a new shoe on that side at least and check the seal. I have the seals. I don't have the shoes. But now I'm going to be working on this all day. All right, back at it today. Yesterday we left off. I had the front rotors just showed up. I got those installed. Calipers are on. Pads are on. Everything's spinning real nice. It's not bled down yet. I still got to bleed everything. But those are on. I had gotten the rear drums removed and the axles and the hubs. I got my rear shoes on this side with the new hardware. I got everything cleaned up. That was all full of oil. So I got to go through. I got to clean this drum up. I got to get the hub all cleaned up, clean up the bearings, all that sort of jazz. This was the real problem over here. Actually, you can see all the oil that's in there on the pads, those shoes. Man, I always do brake pads. I never do shoes, so I keep messing that up. But the shoes are completely soaked with oil, so we can't have that. I gotta once again go through and remove those shoes, put the new shoes on. I gotta clean everything, clean the hubs. I got new rear wheel seals coming from the dealer. The Napa ones that they set it for this truck don't fit at all. So there's that whole thing. I gotta clean the bearings up. I got a good amount of work here. So, and I can't do anything. I have all the parts I have that I can do. I can't do anything else until that seal gets here besides cleaning. So, like, I can't even put a drum back on. Because I gotta put the hub on first and do all that. But I can't do that because I don't have the wheel seal. Put the hub back on. And that's the first thing. So, I'm gonna go through and clean this all again. Get these shoes off on this side. And probably get the new shoes on. Then I'm just going to go into cleaning mode. Cleaning bearings, cleaning the races, cleaning the hubs, inspecting everything before it all goes back together. And yeah, so there's the front wheel. You can see that's done. So I can put a tire on the front. Then I got to be able to put tires on the back. And once that is all together, then I'll be able to move this thing outside, which is good. And then, yeah, once it's outside for those guys to sandblast, pull the tires back off. I'm not sure if I'm going to dismount them yet. I got the tire machine, it's just kind of a pain in the ass to dismount and remount. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to remount, it's kind of hard to dismount. So, that's what we got today, getting the rear brakes. Getting rear brakes on and getting the tires back on this thing so I can get it back on the ground, and then I can start doing cosmetics.
Okay, back on the 03 project. You can kind of see it. They're doing some sandblasting today, getting it all cleaned up. I'll bring you over there a little closer, but it's kind of a dusty mess. Getting everything down to bare metal. Big refresh. Making it great again.
Alright, back on the Isuzu project here. It's now March 5th. It's Tuesday. Everything's all sandblasted. Now we finish our patchwork. New gussets, new gusset, new gusset. 4 or 5 new gussets on the other side, some patches in the back. All the stake pockets that were ripped out got repaired. And then this whole back of the bumper here, this bottom section, you can tell, was all cut out. This corner was replaced. That was all smashed in. We pulled the bumper out back here. I ended up cutting this and then pulling that out. Got the headache board all cleaned up, so now we're gonna start priming today. Got some belts to replace. I'm gonna replace this lift support, some covers to put on, some rubber bump stops or whatever for the transmission cooler. And yeah, some fuel line I think is getting replaced as well today. Some small stuff. I got one of the back legs on for the, not legs, but the brackets on for the toolbox. So those should be nice and sturdy now. I didn't actually try it, but much stronger than what was there. So that's that. So we should have it painted by tomorrow, black paint, and then we can start sanding on Thursday for the cab. And we'll be in good shape. We're moving along. So let's keep after it. Yep.
End of the day here with primer day, paint day. See, they got a good amount of the frame cleaned up and painted. Had them go through and do all the kind of the trim and outline of this for today. Anticipating that we're probably gonna brush and roll the rest of this to make it nice and thick. But got in there, gave everything a nice coat. So more spraying tomorrow on this. Look at this thing, nice. It's like a new truck. So more spraying tomorrow. Get the rear wheels here. Got those all primed up. Front bumper's primed. Front wheels are painted. Gonna be mounting new tires on those, so that's why those don't have tires on them. So tomorrow we should have it ready to put back together and whatnot. The back bumper, got in all the stake pockets real nice, the drums. That's looking good. Looking good for 2003. Progress on the Isuzu is really shaping up. White bumper. We painted this black cap piece here on the end. Nice re-shined up white wheels. Toolboxes back on. We might put a coat of paint on the face of that, just because the rest of it looks so good now. Still a white ugly cab. Mud flaps are back on. This is to try the side of the truck is pretty much there. Tail lights are back in. All the lights on the body are back in. All painted up. Needs a little bit of touch up on the black spokes. Not spokes, Jesus. The lug nuts. And the other toolbox, we got to put that on. And then the cap. But the body looks good. It's like a brand new truck out here. So we'll be doing some blue paint this week on that cab. But right now it's Saturday. I'm just moving stuff around because it's supposed to snow on Sunday. And I wanted to make sure the salt truck was inside, not outside in the weather. So I'm going to be putting this one on the lift just for storage purposes. Got to pull these nice tints off. Got the rust stains all over them. That's too bad. Okay, so the update on the now GMC Isuzu. It's all sanded down. A little bit more touch-up work to do tomorrow, but everything's pulled out. Everything's sanded down. It's going to require some in-depth cleaning, but cleaning, masking, sanding is pretty much done. We'll be shooting our primer tomorrow. You see the windows are all dirty. You gotta get all that crap out of there. Masking and shooting some blue. So we're gonna be rolling into our painting right now. Just wrapping up the masking. So here's what we got going now. We got an Ace and Select sealer. That's going to be our, basically get everything the same color. We got our Nason paint. There's our paint code right there, a P4989. That's the dark blue, real beautiful color. Then the reducer and the clear coat. There's all the part numbers for you. Got my freshy gun here ready to go. My mixing station set up. We're gonna be rolling right into this here shortly. We got the lighting, got the ladder, got the masking, got a few more things to cover up. And we're gonna be shooting this gray here in the next probably half hour, I would guess. Got the grill up there. We got a couple more pieces down below. But overall, we'll be shooting it pretty quick. So I use that sealer because of stuff like that. Maybe I should prime that, huh? We use the sealer to give it an even base. So when you put blue on there, so if you had like blue on gray, or you know, this truck's white, but if I did a little primer, it would show up a totally different blue. One would be darker than the other. So we're gonna hit it with some sealer, and that will kind of help protect everything. So maybe I should do that right now with the primer, prime those bare spots. So that's what we're gonna do. Maybe blue paint today, I'm not sure. Moving on to the Isuzu here. We got new sideboards built for it because the other ones are just kind of crappy, big cracks. Got the mirrors on, door handles in, locks in, breather back in, wheels, bumper, headlights. Everything's cleaned up. Window tints all removed. Same thing on this side. Cab's all pretty much back together. I got to mount this fire extinguisher. I'm gonna put that right in there. I gotta mount this dump hoist controller. I'm gonna put that up in here so you can't be bopping around. I got the mount for the fire extinguisher there. I think I'm gonna move that. We can tuck stuff back there. Then I gotta just put this cover back on at some point for the steering column. I have to adjust the steering wheel because it doesn't drive straight. that's what we got for this. So brand new wood, waiting on some hardware to finish this up. And it's looking pretty fresh. Oh, graphics, yeah, waiting on the graphics. So it's getting there. It's starting to really shape up to a nice truck. So I never did end up filming any more of this truck because I kind of got busy rolling on to the next project. So here's some photos of it. That last photo was in the shop. You see we got the bumper on the side of the bed. The decals are on. The lighting's back in. The reflective tape's on. The new sideboards are done. You also notice the graphics on the doors and the rest of the vinyl decals. 03, the phone number, which looks crooked in that photo. 03 again, there's a nice picture of the back with the reflectors. All the tools are back in and she's ready to go to work. And for the last picture is just a completed video, or a completed photo of it. You'll see in this one I called it 03.5 because there was a second version, I would call it, of this truck. The cab's actually a 2004. So I just, as a joke, put on there 03.5. But overall, good looking truck, cleaned up, refreshed, looking brand new, 21 years old, yes. Old truck, but like I said, I think early on in this video, a new truck like this is about $80,000, $90,000. And this was a fraction of that to do this pretty much well-involved overhaul. If I were to do it again, I feel like I would just, I would definitely do the cab swap again. The only thing I would do differently maybe is the bed. The bed, I spent 4 days doing rust repair. I could have built a whole brand new bed in 4 days. Yes, it would have costed more money, but the amount of time I got tucked into it with patchwork, I don't know if it was really worth it versus just saving the long frame rails and that are there and the hoist and everything and just building new cross members on up. Those bodies are just kind of cheap stamped out steel, really thin. A lot of places and shelves and stuff like that on the inside of the frame to hold water and debris with the cutouts and the lights. And it's also got a wooden deck underneath that, so it's a steel overlay on top and the debris just sits in between and just rusts out the steel deck and it pops and we got to keep fixing it all the time. So I think that would be the only thing I would probably change, is just to do new cross members, because the cross members that are on this thing aren't even structural. They're just sheet steel, 1/8 sheet steel that's bent to a 3-inch channel. It has no strength behind it. So that was very frustrating for me having to fix that. But all in all, it should serve us well for another couple of years, and then maybe we'll take it and sell it. But it's a bought and paid for truck. It starts up and makes money, so really can't go wrong with that. It's been pretty reliable, so we're going to just continue to run it, and that'll wrap up that. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to be working on a 2011 F350. We're going to be doing another large overhaul onto that. Not nearly as much as this, but pretty big overhaul for a pickup truck that's also getting old. So, alright guys, until then, we'll see you in the next one.